kudos to you. You have made it. Dr. Tiffany here, and I want to talk to you about the last 2 modules of the program, okay? So we're talking about your child's best brain. If you've not been kind of tracking with the series, please go back, because you should have a few emails with these videos and that tell you about your child's best brain, the program, okay? And we're on module 5, which is feeding your child's best brain. Feeding your child's best brain. So what are we talking about? You know, what am I saying? And it's something that a lot of people don't like to hear me say, but your child has a sensitive brain. Let's start with the cerebellum first. The cerebellum is very sensitive to gluten in a brain that has gluten sensitivity. So remember, back in module 2, you were assessing the cerebellum, okay? Now, I'm not talking about celiac, and I'm not talking about allergies. Let me say it again. I'm not talking about celiac disease, and I'm not talking about allergies, all right? It is established that ADHD brains typically have a prefrontal cortex and a cerebellum that are sensitive to gluten. What is gluten? Gluten is found in bread products, okay? More and more often we can find gluten-free foods, but it's found in pastries, pizzas, crackers, cookies, baked goods. It is found in breads, okay? And many ADHD children cannot handle gluten products because it activates all these problems that we talked about before with like allergies and eczema and all those things. But more importantly, gluten can irritate the cerebellum and cause inflammation. Most of the ADHD children that I work with have, when I do their blood work, they have sensitivities to gluten. It causes inflammation. And an inflamed cerebellum or an irritated, glitchy cerebellum will misfire. It will misfire. And we learned about in module 2 the importance of the cerebellum. And if it's misfiring, it can cause all kinds of problems. So the sobriety test that you see a police officer do on the side of the road is just a cerebellar test. It's just a cerebellar test. And alcohol interferes with the cerebellum's performance. So that's how sensitive the cerebellum is, that when you drink, it's the part that gets impaired as a result of the alcohol. And it can make you quite uncoordinated and unfocused and encourage you to do all kinds of things that you would never do. And that's coming from the cerebellar input into things. Now, it's not 100%, and we're not having a conversation about alcohol, but what I'm telling you is if your child is sensitive to gluten, for starters, that's one area of vulnerability. Many children who have attention deficit or sensory issues are also struggling with dairy. Sometimes it can be peanuts, chocolate, sugar is a big one. So what we're looking for is what are the brain blockers? What are the dopamine blockers that are creating your child's specific issue with with performance and functioning and feeling great? Which foods are doing that? All right. And we have assessments that we'll use. I ask you to keep just some notes around what you observe when your child's eating some of the problem foods. Do you notice there's a runny nose? And then that's followed by like a meltdown or some sort of tantrum. Like, what are the patterns? And then you have some questionnaires you would have filled out at the very beginning. I talked to you about how to put meals together to keep blood sugar stable. And what do you replace these foods with that they love so much? So if they love goldfish, and then I'm asking you to not feed them goldfish because of the dairy and the gluten, what are you supposed to do next? That's a huge piece and using a natural medicine approach to ADHD and function and focus. And if food is a central part of your household, this can feel like a really painful place to have to be making adjustments for families. So I find that being in a group where people are saying, you know what, I cut out dairy and my child's speech improved or their focus improved, really helps you to kind of double down on this, to take this one seriously and to do whatever the work is around it. And I'm not saying this is easy. I'm saying it's imperative. And then module 6, what we do is we just recap, right? We recap the coaching, we recap the progress that you've made, and you're going to continue to participate in the group. You can keep jumping into all of the coaching calls as they're happening. You can keep watching the videos as long as you want. All of the materials are still yours. And at the 6-week mark, you would be telling us in the group what you've noticed in your child. And I promise you in 6 weeks, you'll notice a difference in your child. Promise you. You'll notice a difference in your family, your household, how you're handling things. All of that will be different. Will things be resolved? Will your child be focusing, functioning, and feeling their absolute best? Absolutely not. Not in 6 weeks, but they will be so much closer. It is a choice point, and you would have made a tremendous difference for them. So, we're not starting the program right now. It's still early, but if you are saying, wow, this sounds like exactly what I need and I owe it to my child, please make sure you're on the VIP list so you receive the VIP code, because it's going to help you save hundreds of dollars on the program. And if you're still needing to ask me questions, you're like, I'm not sure, schedule a 20-minute consult call with the team or through the app, and book yourself or let them book you so that you can get on a call with me and we can make sure it's a good fit for you or not. And then there'll be under this email, some times where I'm doing some live Q&As and just going over the program again. You can also just hop on one of those. It'll be at convenient times and ask me your questions at that time. I strongly encourage you to jump into this program now. This is me saying that it's not appropriate for me to have this holistic approach that's getting great results for families and children and only be able to offer it to those who have the resources of time and money for something that can easily be a $6,500 program. I'm offering it much, much less than that, and I'm offering it in a way that it's more accessible to people. I want to give you that access. So, I hope this few days together has been helpful and you've learned some things. And even if you don't decide to sign up right now, keep this program in mind for the future. Don't forget what you learned here. Share this. I invite you to share it with someone who you think could also benefit, and reach out when you are ready. But if you're ready now, get on that mailing list. Hit respond, hey, I want to sign up immediately to this email, and we'll get you the code as well, and we can get you registered and make sure your child has their customized supplement protocol immediately. What if your child right now was on the supplements that they needed to start to focus and feel better, and you didn't have the parental guilt of my child is on medication and what am I doing, and then the symptoms? What if that were the case and they were going from floundering to flourishing, but also feeling good about themselves because their parents gave them supplements instead of a medication, which means something's wrong with them? The messaging there can be so powerful in children. I find it flooring. Anyway, I look forward to working with you. I look forward to being invited onto this team to support your child. I look forward to us connecting. Be well.